We're not out there half-stepping. It's going to go fast. That's probably the biggest lesson I can tell you by experience. It is going to go fast. So be locked in.
Welcome to the CanadaFootballChat.com Recruiting Masters podcast, brought to you by the CFC Insider. I'm Burt, here with Clint Uttley. If you're listening to the show for the very first time, welcome. So glad you joined us. Before we go any further, though, hit that subscribe button for your silver or gold CFC Insider membership on CanadaFootballChat.com in whatever app or tool it is that you use to listen to podcasts to make sure that you don't miss a single episode of the Recruiting Masters, because this is the number one place for all your rankings, analysis, and daily football recruiting news across Canada. Clint, how are you doing?
Good. Just waiting for the middle of March to come so we can do this second round and get our roster squared away for the prospect game on TSN.
The invitations have gone out for the selection camps. What's your summary on the kids that we've selected to come to these camps and showcase their skills and try and get on national television?
It's been positive. I mean, it's going to be a really good test for those kids, but it's also going to be super competitive. I'm pretty excited about some of the quarterbacks we're going to see. That's been like probably the most difficult position that we've had to deal with in the lead up to the invitations. There's just been a handful of kids that came out of nowhere who just kind of turned it on its head. The offensive and defensive lines, especially the defensive lines, the kids who have registered are really solid. And it's going to be a really good year for, we're only probably going to have 4 of them in the game, but for running backs. So, yeah, all in all, it's super positive. And we've kind of ironed out a couple of the minor issues we had last year. So it's going to be the same coaching staff doing all the events across country with the same equipment. So it's really going to bring that balance to it. And then just our ever-evolving relationship with tracking football, getting them all those numbers. To include this year, we are going to measure your hand size, and we are going to weigh you in, and we are going to check your wingspan.
So we're gonna get into a bit of that in just a second, but the logistics of the camps are Calgary. We're in there for March 24th. Winnipeg, we're March 25th, so that's going to be a really quick turnaround. Montreal is on the 27th, Toronto the 28th, and Vancouver finishing up on the 31st. So today's episode, we're going to talk about these combine tests in quite a bit of detail and what to expect and things you can do to prepare, and as well as then we're going to finish off with the recruiting tip of the day. So be sure to follow us on Facebook, Twitter @ChatFootball, Instagram CFC_football, and YouTube for all this great content that we're about to talk about. So Clint, these combine portions, you were just about to get into it. So the kind of the first part, registration, headshots, like you said, we will have our weight scale with us, and we are going to do height so that we have an actual accurate height and weights this year. And then the other test, the wingspan and the hand measurements. Tell us why you want to get these tests in here as well, or these numbers.
I think that was more of a request from the tracking people. The more data we can give to them, the more they can push it into, and it's not my world, so their analytic world, or the world of analytics, and they can get a score that is more accurate. So that's kind of was the start point. And then for us too, it's just more information and more data. And you know what? If they're doing it at every level where it's meaningful, why wouldn't we do it?
So let's just talk about the hand size, because I know it's been pushed around on the NFL Network quite a bit this week, obviously with the NFL Combine. And they were saying that anything over, 9?
Anything below 9, was it 9.5 or 9?
9.3 or something inches that they don't even look at.
Yeah, you know what? I've heard that, and it's like, I'm sorry. There's, like, if you're not going to draft, is it Joe Burrow?
Yeah.
If you're not going to draft Joe Burrow because his hand is an inch off, you need to be, you need some help. So there's a big difference between, like, somebody's hands are like mid-size as opposed to Dave Craig, Doug Flutie. Their hands were so small that they say it correlates to fumbles or fumble issues. So I would also say, yes, a scrambling quarterback is probably smaller and they have small hands. And the fact that they're running around because their offensive line is terrible might have more of an issue on the fact of them fumbling the ball than their hand size. So you know what, if you punch enough numbers, you're going to find all the data you want on everything. So
interesting tidbits, what these guys look at and how they determine. I mean, that's obviously at the highest level, the pro level. We're not going to be that discriminatory.
Well, it's just a number, right? And people always say numbers and or math never lie. So there it is. That's kind of where that's at.
This is what everyone loves to see, is the 40-yard numbers.
Yeah, that's the glamour. That's like the 100-yard sprint in the Olympics.
Yeah.
It is. So
there's different laser systems, and I know that depending on whether it's start with the full torso, or you've got your finger on a pad, or you're breaking the beam with 2 or 3 beams as opposed to just a single beam. Like, there's all different types of laser systems that you could use that will produce faster or slower results. So this is a good thing that we're bringing our laser system to all of the cities, so that you will at least have the exact same laser testing system. What are you looking? What kind of numbers are you expecting out of this 40-yard?
Well, last year we had pretty good numbers. There was a bunch of kids who fell into like that 4.6 range. There was one in the 4.5 range. So I mean, it went well last year. Some of the players that really popped to me was, like, I'm a big fan of Zach Lytle from St. Paul's in Winnipeg. You know, he's a big, tall, lanky kid who ran a 4.89. Probably get that down in a young guy. And then there was just like Javon Blake was really impressive. Brad Kiama was really impressive at a 4.59. So hand start, laser finish is what you're going to see at this second round. And then most likely that is what you're going to see moving forward at all CFC events.
The hand time is faster. However, it is definitely not as reliable. There's a huge variability rate. And depending on who is on the other end of that stopwatch, you know, we've had some, see some people taking 40s with their iPhone. Oh my word. Anyways, it really depends on the tester and how many times they have actually taken 40s, because that makes a huge difference in that accuracy of a hand time recorded 40. So it's really good to have the laser, because at least then it's standardized across. You know, we do sometimes have people standing at the end or whatever taking hand times.
Yep.
But it is not the number that we submit to tracking football.
So, but for us, like, moving forward, it's going to be hand start, laser finish, and it won't be anything but that. If we have enough time at an event, we may log the hand times. In this second round, though, it's going to be hand start, laser finish, and you're getting 2 runs, unlike the first round. So, and just a quick point on that, all those prospects who are going to the second round, understand that it's a 5-hour. This is a 5.
It's a haul. It's a grind.
It's a 5-hour combine / evaluation, and I would call it more of an evaluation than I would call it a tryout. You're essentially going to do what they do in the NFL combine, and so make sure you bring lots of fluid and a couple of small snacks that aren't going to kind of bog you down halfway through.
Yeah.
But so you're going to do it, and just to reiterate, and I've said it twice already, you're doing a hand start, laser finish ×2 at the next round.
So last year, the fastest NFL time at the combine was John Ross at 4.22, and at the CFL draft it was Chris Osei-Kwesi. How do you say that?
But Kuze is the kid. Osei Kuze from Queens.
Queens was 4.47.
Yep.
So
Ross is the record, right? Ross is the record at the NFL.
Yeah.
I think he took that from Chris Johnson, the running back from East Carolina. Maybe, I don't know. But but the Queens kid was super fast. I believe that 40-yard time got that Queens kid that got him a look in Cleveland. I don't know if he's stuck there or not, but yeah. The 40-yard dash, that's what everybody's there to watch. It's the sexy thing. So, and I don't say that in a negative way, but it's like, it's the sexy thing. It's like, you know what? And it's everybody does it. You see NFL coaches right now, go on TSN or ESPN or whatever your deal
I've
is.
been on it all day.
Yeah, you've been on it all day. And like, you have like 60-year-olds
sitting in this.
and they're hand timing, they're hand bombing it. And they're literally holding, like, they had Charlie Castlery up there, and he's holding his hand, and they're holding the string of their stopwatch, and it's like,
yeah.
And there is a gift to timing a 40 with the hand,
Yeah.
because like most people would just be like, they're looking at the whole picture, and they'll see movement and they hit it. And some guys will watch the hand and hit it, and some guys will see his backside arm come up and they'll hit it, that being the start button. But it's like a gift, and if you don't do it consistently, probably one of our better hand timers is probably Jerome Erdman.
T-test and the 5-10-5, the broad and the vertical. So we kind of just loosely say T-test. However, to be accurate, it is not the T-test, the actual T-test that we do. It is the 5-10-5, aka Pro Agility, aka Short Shuttle. So that is the test that we will be doing. This is not a measure of agility. We are truly looking just for your ability to change directions quickly. Who had the highest or the fastest last year in the...
Rhett Vavra.
Rhett Vavra at 3:99.
Which is crazy fast.
Yeah. So he's who you want to beat this year.
He actually got beat in the Moose Jaw Combine.
Oh, who ran that?
I don't know, was it Max? Was Max Polachek?
Polachek, yeah.
Polachek. He's a freaky athlete, Max is. But yeah, it's just so we're never confused again, because there was some confusion. I'm just going to say 5-10-5. I am. Everywhere when I was a young kid referred to it as a T-test, and half the coaches would agree, and then you talk to the other half, and they'd be like, that's not what that is. And then you hear 5-10-5, and you mean, oh yeah, the T-test, and they'd say, yeah. But anyways, so it's 5-10-5. And basically and it's a total, like, you can prep for that test like crazy. And it's literally how fast can you run in a hinged position? And then how fast can you put your foot in the ground and redirect or ricochet the other way? So total change of direction drill. And it's a standard. Like, it's just one of those, like, you're never going to take the 40 at a football testing. You're never going to take the 5-10-5. I mean, you could do like the L1 and all the other stuff. And three cone drill, but like 5-10-5 left, 5-10-5 right. You only get one shot at each, unless you like blow a wheel or have some catastrophic failure.
And I see it all the time in the test. You really have to make sure that you completely touch the line on either end, because they'll just stop you and they'll make you do it again. They'll start you over.
Yeah, and it's so frustrating when you're the tester.
Not the kid who's being tested.
Well, yeah, but but mentally for them, it's not stressful, but it's really annoying for both parties. Like being told to stop and go again, and you know that you just missed it by like a millimeter, and like instead of focusing on your next run, you're basically cursing the tester in your head. So, not that you should be doing that as a young person playing football. You should respect your elders.
The next two tests, combine tests, are the broad jump and the vertical jump. An interesting tidbit that I was reading today was that running backs with longer broad jumps, on average, gain more yards and stay in the league for more seasons.
Well, it's because of their lower body strength.
Just random information.
Yep.
So on average, the correlation is at 118 inches, so that's 9.83 feet. And again, this measures your explosive leg power, like you were saying.
We just got back to the broad, and like the kids,
they know it.
They know the broad, and they're actually, you could see the level of confidence.
And then the vertical jump. So the top in the NFL is 47 inches, held by Willie Creer. He was the cornerback from Eastern Michigan in the 2015 combine. For us, our vertical jump holder was Charlie Deland out of Alberta, Calgary, with a 39.8, which is pretty good.
Yeah, and we use a jump mat.
He's a DB.
Yep. St. Francis. Do you go to the U of A?
Yes, he committed to the U of A.
Oh, that's good. Like, who didn't go to the U of A? Anyways, All right. Way to go, Coach Morris. All right. Anyways, we use a vert mat. So we don't use a Vertec. And we don't use something taped on the wall.
And slap your hand with chalk.
Or bend over and falsely reach up. So we use a vertical jump mat.
But the thing with the with the mat is that technique. You have to ensure that your feet land back on the mat with the legs nearly fully extended.
Yeah, not to the point where you're gonna like hyperextend your knee.
Yeah.
But like you
can't land with a bent knee like you would in a normal jump action.
Well, yeah, we basically tell them. We'll usually get somebody who's done it before, and we'll be like, you cannot land with a hinged knee, but you cannot land with your legs folded in any way.
So that's just kind of the trick or something to think about when you're doing the vertical jump. And it is really just a lot easier. You get on there, you take your shoes off, do your 2 jumps, and out you go.
Yep.
So it's quick. It's a nice easy test, and it's got a pretty good variability rate. So.
Yep.
And that one again tests your lower body power overall. So this is a good test just to let us see how explosive you can be. Moving on, so once you do go through and you do your test, that portion should take what, about an hour and a half?
I don't see it take. I could honestly see us getting through the 4 tests and maybe even the weigh-in with the measurements probably in an hour and a half. We have 5 hours with a whole facility.
We sent out a packet of description of one-on-one drills at each position that they'll pick 1 or 2 of these drills to do, or are they going to be doing all of them?
It really comes down to how many players they'll be doing all of them. Might as well just wrap your head around the fact you're going to do all of them. The only thing that probably won't get really hammered out or diving into is like with the tight ends. If we pull them in with the offensive line just to kind of see how they come out of their stance and engage a target, whether it's moving or static, we'll see maybe, but like everything as it is will go down on those indie one-on-one periods. And like, I mean, we talked about this before we went on air here, I guess, or before we started the segment. You better make sure that you players going to the second round, that your cardio's up. I know you only got like 3 weeks, but you can still make a difference. Literally, one of the things we're assessing is like, how do they move through all of these drills? Basically, are they athletic? In the defensive context, are they rising up whenever they try and change direction? So those are heavily assessed, as is your cardio in general. There's a resiliency piece in there too, where we push you past where we think it might not be. We'll push you to a certain point, not a point where it's like not safe, and we're always watering you down, and you literally are getting like 2 to 3 minute rests, like consistently. But like when we do the movement drills and the shuffle drills and the wave drills, like we're pushing the tempo high, and we're trying to check just to see how you respond to a tiny little bit of stress.
And it won't be like the first round where
you
may have got 2 or 3 reps at something. Like you are going to get a hefty amount of time at these drills.
Well, and you got to think like our assessment, I would say our assessment is on par or probably better than most assessments you would get elsewhere in North America, short of going to like a legitimate NCAA camp and going through the whole gamut of things.
Yeah.
Right? So it's like you're going to be basically tested by guys who either were university coaches for a long time, or, and like we've mentioned his name once already, Jerome Erdman, whose background is he was in the CFL for 9 years, and then he coached in the CFL for a very long time, and now he's been a university coach forever. So like he's one of our primary testers along with myself. I mean, we're going to have Adam Rita evaluate the quarterbacks.
Yeah.
Adam Rita is a CFL
legend
in a bunch of different capacities. So you know what? And we're going to have some other guest coaches who join us who had lengthy CFL and NFL careers. So like you're going to get a solid evaluation. And at the end of it, you're going to have a really good idea of where you stand, both against the players that you were with and against that day, but just in general, because the players who make it, they'll get feedback as we continue on through the process. The players who don't make it, they will get feedback. Will it be long and detailed and long-winded? No, but you know, if there's a parent who wants to discuss this and that. We're going to not obviously just sit there and ask that 200 people call us, but we'll give a fair assessment. Because if you watch, literally when we're going through the evaluation process, we're walking around the field constantly taking notes. And we're not like writing down things like, we're writing down like hard and fast observations. So show up for the indie period, try and have a really good understanding of the drills, make sure your cardio is way up, and then understand that you're going to be stressed just to see how you respond a little bit. And you're going to be moved through the drills at a very high tempo, but we're still going to respect the rest to work ratio.
Yep.
And we're gonna give you like tons of opportunities to drink water, but like you are going to be pressed and stressed. For
Quarterbacks, they can bring their own balls.
quarterbacks are always encouraged to bring as many of their own balls as they can and or want.
You should be prepared to play multiple positions if the coach asks you to.
Yeah, I won't get too crazy with that.
Yeah.
Like, we're not going to look at a quarterback and be like, you're playing running back.
Yeah, no.
Like, that's not going to happen.
No.
But, like, if you're a DB, you might be asked to play some receiver. Let's put it this way. If you're a ridiculous athlete, you may be asked to play wherever we can give you the football the most.
Yeah. Which is good for you.
And if you're a really athletic end, we may get you as a backer, but don't freak out. Because we know how you got into the second round. If you make it to the game, the coaching staffs are so experienced, and I know who you are. So I'm going to make sure that, say you end up playing backer in the game, if you made a first impression on us as a pass rusher, don't worry, we're going to make sure on second and long, they get you in as a pass rusher or a designated pass rusher, or they pull somebody out and let you put your hand down on the edge, or get into a 2-point stance and come off the edge. So don't fret that stuff. Don't freak out about that stuff. You're not going to be put in a position where it's not going to be beneficial to you. That's why the numbers are so low for the rosters, because anybody who makes the game is going to play a lot of football.
Which is what we want.
And which is why we're going from basically 6 running backs and 2 fullbacks last year. We're going to go down to 4 running backs.
So that's we're really excited about this next set of tryouts, and be prepared to compete. Come fully rested. Don't try some weird meal the night before. Or,
No.
Just keep everything super routine. And get good sleep and come and play.
Just come with the right attitude too.
Yeah.
It'll be a blast, and it'll be unlike anything they probably do. Where this is going to be a one-off evaluation. It's going to be 5 hours long, and you know what? It's going to be. I think in Toronto, it's going to be like even super cool, because I think we're going. Are we going on the heels of the
CFL
Combine?
The kickers, I think, are just finishing or something like that.
Yeah. So like the young prospects who are part of the tryout in Toronto, like you're going to actually go right behind the CFL draft, correct?
I believe so.
Yeah. So like you're getting the full value now. That doesn't mean that everybody from everywhere else try and sign up for Toronto.
Finishing up here, recruiting tip of the day. So we've seen a lot of people getting invited to the junior days. Kudos to the university programs. You guys are doing an awesome job, with your graphics, and now it kind of seems like a competition. Who's got the best junior day graphic? But
there's 2 front runners right now.
There are 2 front runners. We won't say who.
They both wear yellow. They do.
The kids are super pumped about it. They're retweeting it and they're putting it on their social media along with our invitations. We love it when you guys tag us. We'll retweet it out. Please.
You will. I won't.
Well, we love it when you engage with us. But yeah, so these junior days are coming up, and there's obviously some in the States as well. So the recruiting tip of the day is, what questions should I ask the coach after my junior days and spring camps? So we have a list of questions, but Clint, as a university coach or a former university head coach, what kind of questions would you kind of expect a kid to ask, or what kind of engagement are you looking for these kids to maybe take the initiative to learn more about your program?
Well, you could always tell who was serious and who wasn't. So it was like you could tell by the questions, you could tell by if the parents came, and kids generally. I would say the kids, you can tell right away who has their academic priorities squared away. You can tell the kids who who think that they're gonna just go to university to play football, which you hope there's not. They some point learn that that's not what it's about. It's about getting a degree and becoming a better person and all that other stuff, along with playing and learning all those valuable lessons you learn as a teammate or as a person who shares a common goal with a large group of people and fits in and buys in and all that stuff. So you can tell right away. I used to always say a kid comes on a junior day visit, for example, you call them now. A kid comes out, if he had his parents with him, that meant a whole lot to me. If he came with a list of questions, that meant a whole lot to me. The kids who would just show up and then ask for a meal, and that would be noted too. It'd be like, yeah, okay, you're working the system. You have to deal with those kids. It's part of it, unfortunately, but yeah.
Because there are some kids who just like to be recruited.
Oh, there's every kid likes to be recruited. And I used to tell kids, there's not too many points in your life where you're going to be intensely recruited by various parties who are going to basically make it seem like it's the best case scenario in the world. And if they're good at their job, they've left an impact on you, or they've left some sort of they've worked their way into the equation. So and I get to see that. I've seen that as a university coach. I saw that as a university athlete. Not that I was heavily recruited. Probably should have been recruited a little heavier if you ask me. I was pretty good, but but no,
you had no marks, dude.
I had no marks.
Let's just be honest.
I was that kid who was just So, anyways.
But you got in.
Oh, but I got 3 degrees. And coincidentally, I was showing my unofficial transcript to the IB students at my school the other day with my 3.98 GPA. Anyways, I digress. What was your question, anyways?
What? Okay, so whatever we were talking about,
yeah.
What can you tell the kids or everyone listening? What exactly is the purpose of a junior day?
So I'm not sure what's going on in junior days in Canada, but I know an NCAA junior day, it's like an opportunity for them to meet with the actual juniors, because the calendar is so heavily controlled by the NCAA. So it's it wouldn't be the first introduction. They probably in some manner have communicated with them before, but it's get them in, meet them. They're on your campus. You can talk to them a little bit, get them a campus tour, get them an academic tour. It probably wouldn't be unless you were the top of their
recruiting.
You're
on their board.
Well, you're on their board and you're top 3.
Yeah.
So, but there's only so many
Not
coaches.
everybody's getting a meal.
No, not everybody's getting a meal. Some people aren't even getting a campus visit. So, but that's probably what's going on. Have you fill out a bunch of forms? Have you, make your way down past the weight room and get your hand size measured and your height and your weight just kind of happened while you were walking down the hallway?
The questions, so we have a few here. How much, this is the kid or the player asking the program or the recruiter or coach, how much importance do you put on coming to your summer camp? How does your evaluation process work? What camp would be the best one to go to in order to get evaluated? How did spring practices go? And how many players are you going to scholarship at my position? I find that the last 2 are pretty in depth. Is the coach or a recruiter going to really give that information out?
Well, I think how many players are going to get scholarships at my position, I think that would be easy to find out in the NCAA context because they track it so closely.
Right. But you don't know in youth sports.
In youth sports, I'm pretty sure the coach would probably give you a legit answer. I'm pretty sure because
maybe the depth chart is more what you're looking at.
You know what? I always just tell players to ask about the depth chart. For me, when they would go we'll go back to your questions in order. So how does the evaluation process work? Summer camp, so on and so forth. So that's a big thing for us in BC because we're right on the border. And it's become an even bigger thing across Canada over the last few years. Mm-hmm. Even bigger, I would say, in Eastern Canada, probably in the Ottawa region, where there's a bunch of coaches in that area that have...
They take their kids down.
They dedicated a lot of time, or even I'm going to say it, Heath Weir, sometimes he spends a lot of time with his kids. They go to camps.
Yeah.
So I would say, and there's a couple of dudes in Ottawa who spend a tremendous amount of time, and they take their kids down and they make sure that they're drill ready and they make sure that they're combine ready and they make sure they're in the position that would fit with the cookie cutter that everybody knows in the States. And they get their kids those first offers. So, I mean, summer camps are hugely important, both for the player and the coach, because it's the first time that, like, say I'm recruiting you and I met you on junior day, and I'm like, I love Deacon's film, right? Okay, Deacon came for a campus tour and/or visit during junior day, which is unofficial, or however you want to categorize it. It's a day they're on campus. Yep. You know what? I had a couple of conversations with Deacon, and I liked the questions I liked where his mind was at. You know, I asked him a couple of football questions. His IQ is high. His football IQ is high. His social skills, he's got super social skills. He knows how to communicate. So I like him. And then it's like, hey, you know what? And in the modern world now, how about I give you a camp offer? So I will let you put out on your Twitter, I gave you an offer if you guarantee me you come to my spring camp. And then next thing you know, that kid pumps that out there, and all of a sudden he's got like 3 or 4 of them. Right? So that's kind of how the world works now. But yeah, and then the summer camps there's a strategy to that too. There really is. And are you going to a big camp where there's going to be a bunch of people there and you'll be a big fish in a small pond? Are you going to go to a huge camp? And if you're going to a huge camp, do you already have it lined up with the person who's there recruiting you, that you're gonna get eyes on you?
See you, yep.
They're gonna get eyes on during the camp. So that's strategic. The evaluation process, that's an individual coach thing. But what I will say is, I've had a couple times where a coach has basically at those camps worked out one of our players and has given us like what would be considered a complete evaluation on a player, ending with what he would think their probably best position is and their level of football.
And their ceiling too, right?
Yeah. And then for camps going to, you got to make that decision. How did spring go? Is that a question I would ask a coach? Yeah, I would definitely ask a coach. I would ask him, hey, can I see the depth chart too? How many guys are at my position?
Yeah.
You know? And at that point, that might be like a conversation that might be a little awkward with that position coach, but you're going to find out. Like if I'm a linebacker and you're the linebacker coach and I'm asking you questions and you're deflecting, I'm probably like, the guy that I'm gonna be in his room for the next 4 years and he's not giving me a straight answer. That's a bit of an issue. Or you may be the coach looking at the kid like, hey, none of your business, kid.
Yeah.
Why don't you just come here and work hard? Right? Or it may be a completely kind of organic, open conversation like, Jimmy, this is a depth chart. I think you could climb the chart fast. You got that skill set. You're like, yeah, I know, coach, I'm coming. You know, like that kind of scenario.
Yeah.
Right? And then I think it's fair to ask how many players you've offered. I totally, maybe not offered. For sure you want the depth chart. For sure you want to know how many players are in front of you. But in the NCAA, it would be easy to find out. And then in youth sports, I'm pretty sure if you ask a coach straight up, he's just going to tell you.
You would think. I mean, it's not...
it's not like, yeah, Canada's the biggest country in the world landmass-wise, but it's not an overly huge community. Especially now with social media, like 35 million. Yeah, you got kids who have never heard of or talked about or talked to another kid, and they're like congratulating them on getting a junior day invite, the same invite to the same school.
Yeah.
And then it's like, how hard is it for a kid to go on Twitter and they've followed each other? Yep. I'm not tech savvy because I'm a dinosaur, and just shoot a kid a message and be like, hey, bud, did they offer you too? And you know what? I don't know. Kid might answer you.
Yeah.
So
get your info that way.
Yeah, so it's too small of a world now, is my only point.
So those are, that's the recruiting tip. We've got a whole lot more recruiting tips on CanadaFootballChat.com. You can search recruiting tip and they'll all pop up. There's a lot of good information there, resources for both player and parents. And you know what? If you have a question you want us to answer, feel free to tweet it out to us, direct message us, email us. We would be more than happy to answer those questions for you. So be sure to follow us on our Twitter @ChatFootball, Instagram CFC_football, and our YouTube channel. So that's it for us. Hopefully you've learned a lot of good information, and don't forget to sign up for your CFC Insider membership, gold or silver, and we'll see you next week.